The drawings in this exhibition are from, I guess, the past 2 years, mostly, so they're all relatively new. I start with a piece of wood, and I'll cut out a shape, and then I'll develop a composition on that shape. And that composition involves telling a story of some sort, or telling a couple of stories. So they're all about narratives, they're all about sharing a story through imagery. They tend to deal with relationships between entities, symbols, or characters. To kind of extrapolate from that, I take those drawings and then bring them into a situation like this in a gallery space, and I'll hang the drawings. I'll place them based on their color and their composition, and then I'll place the sculptures, which are also brightly colored and have a lot of that imagery in them as well. And then once I have that, I go to my sketchbooks and I look around in the space and I just respond to what I'm seeing. The things that are on the walls, the murals they're temporary, first of all, so they'll be painted over at the end of the exhibit, but also they are site-specific. The things that I draw depend on where the sculptures are, where the drawings are, and what the content of those works of art are. I'm not a great planner, but I intentionally don't plan these because I want them to be true. I want them to be genuine and honest. So everything on the walls and everything in my drawings, everything in my sculptures is developed from sketchbook work. At the end of every day, if I'm lucky, I'll sit down with my sketchbook and I'll just either write down what happened or I'll draw some things from the day. Snakes are symbolic, obviously, from old storytelling, from Southern storytelling. He's a snake in the grass or something like that. And so snakes generally have a negative connotation. I like to kind of play with that a little bit. And so most often the snakes in my work are more positive. They're the ones who are providing some help. And so I just kind of like to reverse that expectation a little bit. They tend to be goofy and funny. And sometimes you might see a snake and it's my representation of me. Sometimes it's my representation of someone else in my life. And the same with the birds. I do a lot of snakes. I do a lot of birds. And I do a lot of sea creatures. And for me, symbolically, that represents the three different elements of the world that we live in. Things that are in the sky, which might have a spiritual connotation, things that are on the earth or on the land, and then things that are subconscious would be the things in the ocean. What I learned from the last experience here was I had never been to Somerville and never met the people from Somerville, and especially the people who are associated with public works. And meeting those people, having interactions with those people, interacted with what I was thinking about and how I responded on the walls. Having that built-in information this time allowed me to come in and really focus on the positive vibes, the community-centered nature of Somerville and public works, and to really try to focus on how can I provide hope, how can I provide happiness and joy, and maybe a smile in a time that for a lot of us might be a little bit less hopeful. I've heard a lot of comments from people. People say it's cute or it's funny or they love it, and that's great. I love that, but all I need is a smile. I'm doing this to kind of give someone else a positive feeling. My goal with all of my artwork is for a person to come into the gallery and to have an experience with the artwork that makes them go away happier than they came in.